Most homes don't look like the Pinterest board you had in mind. They're fine, maybe even functional, but they often lack that finished, pulled together feel. So, in this video, I'm sharing the 9 tricks designers use to create rooms that feel polished and intentional without the overwhelm. A cohesive color palette is foundational to any well-designed space. You're never going to walk into a professionally designed space that doesn't have one. It is the quiet force tying everything together. Whenever I'm decorating or advising clients, I always recommend starting with a palette of 5 colors. This may seem hard, but start with 2 colors you love that work well together. Ideally, 2 colors that have some contrast. For me, one of those colors is green, but not just any green. Is it emerald? Forest, sage, you've got to get specific. I tend to lean towards earthy and moody colors, so forest green over mint or pastel. There's no right or wrong here, but specificity matters. Then, with the remaining 3 colors, aim for 2 neutrals to ground the palette. Think warm whites, soft grays, or beige, and pick one wild card to use sparingly. This adds just enough spice without throwing the whole thing off. Now, this doesn't mean you only use those 5 exact colors. What really makes a palette feel elevated is tonal variation and repetition. That means using different shades and tones of the same color across your furniture and decor. This creates depth and a high-end feel without being monotonous. Then, repeat your chosen hues across different materials. This kind of repetition is subtle, but it is what makes a space feel intentional and layered. And if you're still unsure, I've got a full video on how to combine colors in your home. It goes deeper into undertones, mass tones, and practical tips like the 60-30-10 rule. Most people decorate their home and then think, oh yeah, maybe I should add a lamp. Others don't even think about lighting at all. And honestly, that is one of the biggest decorating mistakes out there. If you want to decorate like a designer, lighting has to be part of the plan from day one. First, let's talk function. If you only have overhead lights, that is not enough. It makes the space look flat and it is not pleasant to use at night. What we want is layered lighting, and that simply means mixing light sources at different heights. Ideally, you want 3 levels. Above your head, this includes ceiling lights and pendant. Eye level, like wall sconces or a tall floor lamp, and below eye level, like table lamps or maybe even LED strips. On top of that, I always recommend at least 3 lamps per room, in addition to ceiling lights, to create overlapping pools of light. It makes the space feel softer, cozier, and way more inviting. In my experience, most homes have plenty of overhead lighting, if not too much. Some have good functional lamps, but almost no one includes accent lighting, which is exactly what gives a space that warm, intimate feeling. These lights aren't there to light up the room, they're there to create a feeling. But that is exactly what makes a space feel cozy and lived in. And then there's aesthetics. Because let's be honest, the standard builder-grade fixtures, I'm talking about this or this, they're plain and they're flimsy, and they're not doing your space any favors. You don't need to spend thousands. Some of my favorite options are from IKEA. You'll be surprised how much a well-chosen light fixture can change a room. And here's the best part, you already need lighting, so why not make it a design moment? Just like how you need to layer your lighting, you also need to layer textures if you want to decorate like a designer. A lot of people fill their homes with mostly flat packs made of the same materials and then call it a day. But without texture, a room just looks flat and lifeless. Designers know this, so they always mix materials on purpose. Get some wood, bring in metal, add stone, layer in upholstery in linen, cotton, wool, velvet. There's so many to choose from. These surfaces catch light differently and play off one another in very subtle ways. It is the same kind you see in nature. Bark, leaves, rocks, soil, water. There's always contrast, and that is what makes it feel alive. If your core furniture is already in place and a bit same, don't worry. Textiles are your secret weapon. Think cushions, throws, rugs, curtains, even upholstery on your dining chairs. When you're shopping, look for natural fibers whenever you can. Cotton, linen, wool. They look better, feel better, and last longer than synthetics like polyester and acrylic, which tend to peel and lose shape quickly. And if you're decorating in neutrals, texture becomes even more important. You don't have color doing the heavy lifting, so you'll want to mix in variety. But don't stop with just textiles. Designers think about texture in everything. the grain in a basket, the finish on a ceramic, even the sheen of a paint finish. If you're looking for a bit more structure to pull everything together, I've put together a free guide called Secrets to a Beautiful Home. Inside, you'll find a checklist and video guide to help you when decorating your home. Plants are one of the easiest ways to bring life into a room. I like to call them natural mood boosters, as they add softness, shape, movement, and color all at once. And no, you don't need a jungle or a florist on a speed dial. Some of the best styling moments come from simple sources: a tree or plant from your local nursery, branches clipped from your backyard, even fall plants, as long as you bend and fluff them so they don't look stiff and fake. The trick is where and how you place them. Put them where they'll be seen and appreciated, and make sure they get the right amount of light. Some plants thrive in low light, others need bright indirect sunlight. And don't underestimate the power of a tall plant. They're a designer's secret weapon, especially in big open rooms. Place one in a corner, and suddenly that empty spot feels intentional and styled. If you look at almost any designer living room, there's usually a tall plant lurking in the background, quietly doing the heavy lifting. Most people decorate shelves and surfaces by just buying random stuff and hoping it works. But designers don't buy random pieces. Their styling is curated, deliberate, and balanced. One approach to this is what I call still life styling. It is all about grouping objects together like cushions on a sofa or vases and objects on a credenza to create one cohesive visual moment. Take a console table for example. You might start with an anchor like a mirror or artwork above it, then add height with a lamp or tall vase. Balance that out with mid-height object and finish with a few smaller accents. The key is grouping with variation, different heights, shapes, and textures. If everything's the same size or spaced too far apart, your eye jumps around and the whole thing feels disconnected. But when items overlap slightly, you create depth and your eye reads it as one intentional grouping. And this isn't just for consoles. You can use the same approach on coffee tables, bookshelves, nightstands, any surface that needs styling. When you style a sofa, for example, you want your cushion to have variation in shape and texture, and also a little bit of overlap. So, next time you're styling a surface, don't just place things, compose a moment. In well-decorated homes, you'll often see oversized mirrors or large-scale art, and that is not a coincidence. Big pieces make a strong visual statement, anchor the room, and make an impact. A small artwork can work, but you have to be very deliberate about its placement. They can be used to style a shelf or add a moment to some nooks or corners. But if you place them in a big empty wall or above a big piece of furniture, it just looks lost, like it's just floating there for no reason. A single large piece, on the other hand, helps fill the space, draws the eye upward, and balance the visual weight of the room. It makes the wall feel considered, not like an afterthought. Gallery walls or group collections can work too, as long as the pieces are close together and visually read as one unit. The trick is to treat the group like it's one big collection on the wall. Mirrors follow the same rule. A large-scale mirror not only makes a design statement, they also bounce light around and make rooms feel bigger. So, if your walls are feeling a little underwhelming, step back and ask, is the scale actually working? Because when it comes to art and mirrors, bigger almost always wins. And if you've ever looked at a space and thought, I just need to see it with fresh eyes, I've actually built a tool for that. It's called Room Visualizer AI, and it lets you upload a photo of your space and instantly preview new looks tailored to your taste. It is invite only for now, but you can join the waitlist via the link below. Scale and proportion are fundamental to successful design. Your furniture, decor, and even architectural details need to feel in harmony with the room itself and with each other. A common mistake is filling a room with only small-scale items. It can make the space feel cluttered and visually busy. On the other hand, a single oversized piece in a small room can feel like it's swallowing the space. The same goes for things like rugs and window furnishings. Too often, they're undersized, and it throws the entire room off. In living rooms, rugs should be large enough to anchor the main seating area, ideally with all or at least the front legs of each piece seating on the rug. In dining rooms, make sure the rug is big enough to hold all the chairs even when they're pulled out. And when it comes to drapery, hang your rods high and wide. about 2/3 of the way between the window and the ceiling molding. It gives the illusion of taller ceilings and larger windows, which instantly elevates the space. Even architectural details need to follow these rules. Take exterior shutters. I've seen so many decorative shutters that are completely out of scale. It is honestly quite funny. The windows are wide, the shutters are narrow, and there's no possible way they could ever cover the glass. It just looks off. If there's one thing that will instantly drag down a beautiful room, it's visible clutter. You can have the perfect furniture and decor, but if the surfaces are a mess, that is all you will see. I always recommend editing regularly. Go through your things and remove what you don't need or use. But some stuff probably just needs a home, and that is where stylish storage comes in. Use bowls or trays to catch everyday items like keys, sunglasses, and loose change. Place them near your entry or on a console to keep things contained and intentional. Around the house, group smaller items with trays or baskets to keep surfaces tidy and visually calm. A decluttered space not only feels calmer, it actually lets your furniture and decor shine. And once your space is clear, you might even see new layout or styling possibilities you hadn't noticed before. Great design isn't just about grand gestures. It's the small, deliberate choices that tie everything together. That is why I always start with a design concept and then a mood board. It doesn't have to be fancy. Something simple in Canva or even a folder of images on your phone works. The goal is to see how colors, textures, and materials work together before you start buying anything. This is where you start noticing those subtle connections, like the blue speckles in your artwork echoing the pattern on a pillow, or how your hardware finishes ties into your lighting. Speaking of hardware, it is one of the most overlooked details. You touch your door handles, tapware, and drawer pulls every day, so it's worth investing in pieces that feel solid and look intentional. And finally, don't forget to add personality. Add a few pieces that tell your story. An heirloom, a collection from your hobbies, something from your travels, or a vintage find that sparks a memory. In the end, it's the details that make a space feel truly considered. Not because you followed every rule, but because you paid attention. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on 8 popular design trends that fail in real life, or this video on how to make your home look expensive. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.